Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we have another episode sponsored by DLT Trading. Be sure to check them out for all of your knives and EDC needs. And this right here is the Medford Slim Midi Marauder. Now, before I go any further in this review, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you the content. Now, let's take a look at some specs on this knife right here. We have an overall length of 7.9 inches with a blade length of 3.25 inches, as well as a cutting edge of 3.25 inches. We have a blade width of 1.28 inches with a blade thickness of 0.125 inches. That blade steel is S35 VN with a drop point style blade, a pretty nice hollow grind, a handle length coming in at 4.375 inches, and a handle thickness at 0.39 inches. This Midi is slim indeed. We have a handle material of titanium with a tip-up right-hand only user carry, and a weight of 4.3 ounces, which is also pretty darn light for a Medford. If you are familiar with that brand, they usually make chunkers. This one is not. This lives up to the name. And we have a price of $545. And to my surprise, this also happens to be a DLT exclusive. So after I found that out, I wasn't expecting this one to be an exclusive. After I found it out, I messaged the viewer that sent this in to me. He was the same guy that sent me the Strider in earlier. And I said, dude, do you live in Wisconsin? Like next door to DLT, or what's up? And he just said, no, he likes DLT. He does live in Wisconsin, but not right next door. And he is a DLT fan, and they do have some pretty darn good exclusives. So go check this out, guys. As a matter of fact, they still have a good selection of these DLT exclusive Slim Midis and regular Marauders as well. I'm going to link all that in the description of this video below. So check that out and see what they have available. See if they have something that fits your fancy. Now, let's do some size comparisons here and see just how big this knife is. And I got some good comparisons. We're keeping completely 100% made in America today. That's the ZT0562, as well as the TRM Atom. Right here is three pretty darn good EDC knives. And as you can see, the Slim Midi is actually just a hair shorter than the 0562. Almost the exact same. Could be the exact same, but I think looking at it right above it, I think it is just a hair shorter and a little shorter than the Atom as well. But nonetheless, two very good comparisons. And one more round of comparisons here of a couple other ever so popular USA-made blades. The Protect TR3 Operator, as well as the Benchmade Bug Out. It had to make it. As you can see, obviously a little bigger than the Bug Out and pretty much on par with the TR3 as well, just a little shorter than the TR3. And another thing I want to point out, taking the Bug Out into a little deeper comparison here, is the thickness. Now these are Flytanium brass scales, and look at that. Darn near the same. They pretty much feel the same in hand as far as thickness. Let's see if maybe we can do this. Yeah, so there you go. Pretty much the same, which is very impressive for a Medford, and I think that definitely gained him some fans in the carry department. Definitely a very slim knife, and also a very slim edge, very respectable edge at 20 thousandths, which is pretty slicey. Not the sliciest knife I've ever had, but again, 20 thousandths is going to take care of any job you need to get done. And overall, just a very, very sleek blade. Really like the lines on this guy, and I also really like the fuller on this blade. It worked extremely well. We'll hit a little more on that when we get to the action. One thing that I'm not a huge fan of on this blade is, again, kind of the nature of the beast with a black blade, and just happens with the design of this knife. As you can see, the detent ball track, you know, again, that's not a make or break, and it's kind of nitpicky, but there are some people that care about stuff like that, so I wanted to point that out. You can see it has absolutely nothing to do other than maybe a personal aesthetic issue with some people, but you can see it is there. One of the many reasons why I prefer a satin or stone washed blade 99% of the time. No exception here. I would rather see this in a satin or stone wash, but again, beggars can't be choosers, and I'm lucky to have the awesome viewers I do that send this stuff in to me. So not complaining by any means, just pointing out what I see here on this blade. Really do love the finger choil on this blade as well. This one is really, it sits very well with the handle. Sometimes you have choils that are a little gapped, a little farther. They don't flow with the handle as well as this one. This handle obviously doesn't have a lot of, lines and curvatures to fit a hand. It's somewhat of a neutral grip, but that choil really gives you a nice starting point. It really does give you a nice starting point to put your index finger and then let the rest of your hand fall where it may. The milling here feels pretty well when you're putting your middle finger over it. So overall, the Ergos are pretty solid. The one thing that I would kind of pick on with these Ergos is actually has to go a little against the whole point of this knife is it's a little too slim for me, just a hair. I prefer thicknesses in the closer to the 0.5 range. This is 0.39, 0.4 for all intents and purposes. And when you carry knives every day, that bump from 0.39 to 0.5, you do notice that. Believe me, you absolutely notice that. It obviously varies by hand. But another thing that's worth pointing out is it also feels pretty good in this grip right here. Not using the choil gives you a little better reach with the knife. And the bottom of this knife, I will say the width of it feels very good for this bottom of my hand right here. I feel like I have a very solid, very good purchase on this. So I do really like that a lot. Another thing I really like is, again, this bronze anodization with the stone wash finish. Get a good crackling antique look to it. I like the black hardware all over the place. Very nicely done. Pairs well with the bronze. One thing that I'm not crazy about is this right here, proprietary pivots, and it's even more frustrating when the actual rest of the hardware is all your regular bits. This is probably, looks like I'm assuming a T6, maybe a T8, but I'm almost positive this is a T6, which is fine, that's whatever, it works, you can take it apart, but up here, you can't. So that kind of disappointing, especially with an expensive knife like this at $545. If you're going to put a proprietary pivot on it, go ahead, but man, send the tool with it. I feel like for that much money, you should get the tool with it. I know Medford has never been a huge fan of people taking his knives apart. I don't know exactly where that all sits to this point. I know I've heard stories of it being a bigger issue in the past, but I've also heard these knives are backed for life. They're backed for life. As a matter of fact, it says it here on the pretty cool box it comes in with this clip right here, and it says, warranted forever in new or used original condition. Original condition. So mods are going to void your warranties on this. To be honest, I really haven't heard anything as far as how good Medford is with their warranty. So that's, unfortunately, I can't go into any real detail with that. But I can go into a little more detail on this knife, and we're going to keep doing that. Another thing I noticed is the clip on this guy. Now, I like the design of the clip. And surprisingly, this still, it obviously carries great because it's a slimmer knife, it's a thinner knife, it's designed to carry well. But this right here, this clip, you see that? You see that gap from the contact point of the clip down to the base of the handle? Is this a Medford thing? Is it supposed to be like this? Because this clip looks brand new. It's not bent whatsoever. If anything, it's sloped down a little. Like, this is the actual how it's supposed to be designed. This is actually how it's supposed to be. Again, this is my first Medford, so I don't know. Enlighten me, guys. If you know, is this a regular Medford thing, or is the clip always sit a little above the handle? I like that it's above the handle enough to where you don't get that annoying click. And then let's see, when you close it, does it? Yeah, it still sits pretty much up with the same gap there. So I don't know. Let me. What do you guys know about that? Is it supposed to be like that, or not? Let me know. I'm very interested to hear that. It still carries decently in the pocket as far as retention. I put it in my pocket, get up, sit down, move around. I don't feel like it's falling out, but I also can pull it out very easily, extremely easily. So I don't know. Fill me in there. When it comes to the action, this is where I was really surprised because you can't see in here due to the nice tight tolerances, which I always appreciate. This is on bearings, and yeah, flicks out just fine. And of course, you can also slow roll it out with that fuller. And this is the part of the action that is really made by this fuller. Not just the slow roll, but the flick as well, because this fuller here really does a good job. They didn't chamfer it much. I think I do feel a little chamfering, just a hair, but it does a very good job of biting your finger, not cutting it or hurting it or anything, but just allowing you to get a very good purchase. Sometimes you put a little too much pressure on the lock bar, but regardless, it flicks out. That's the way I'm going to open this knife. You'll probably never see me. If I own this knife, I don't think you would ever see me doing this number here where I roll it out. That's just, unless I have a Chris Reeve in my hand, that's probably not going to be happening. But you can do it, and it's, it works for some people, and there's no problem with that. But I gotta say, this Spidey flick right here works very, very well. It's a surprisingly smooth action. I was expecting Medfords to be a little more slow rolling type or pull out type. No, works very well. And the trick to this is not using your fingernail. You don't want to go in here like this. You want to go in like this. Just like that right there. As you can see, that the meat of your finger go under there. Hold it with your index finger right here and your pinky down here, and just flick it out. And it's securely in your hand. You don't have to worry about dropping it or anything. And it works very, very well. It's something I got comfortable with very quick. So that's always nice to experience on any new knife that I've never carried before or had in hand before. It always feels good to have an action like that. So overall, I gotta say, I'm surprised. I've really held out on Medford to have a Medford on my channel. It wasn't something that really attracted my personal preferences in a knife, but I'm to the point now to where I want to do more than just what personally gets, my attention. I want to review things that you guys enjoy. And I've had multiple people now say, where's the Medfords? Have you ever seen a Medford? Have you reviewed a Medford? Have you had a Medford? I said, okay, you know what? I got to squash this, got to take care of it. And I got to say, I'm glad people recommended it because I'm being persuaded. I like this a lot. I really do. The price isn't lying, guys. The price is what it is for a knife fully made and sourced in America. That's what you get. You get a very good result, but you get a hefty price tag. $545 is a lot of money. At this point, though, when you're talking that kind of money, you're most likely a collector or a heavy enthusiast anyway. So, it kind of is what it is. But overall, minus the thing with the clip, again, let me know, guys, on this clip. Is this supposed to be like this? If it is, then I guess it just is. It doesn't really fall out of my pocket, but it's just really weird. I can't say I love it, but it works well enough. I guess I can't argue with it. And the proprietary screw, really wish I had a tool for that. If I had a tool for this, I'd probably love it. But without that tool, that's really kind of frustrating. But regardless, overall, a very solid offering from Medford. Like this a lot, and it got me thinking with the Strider I had on Monday. Think I'm going to do a comparison. Battle of the Bruisers, because this guy is a bruiser and a tank in its own right. Extremely solid build on this guy. We're going to have a Battle of the Blades on Friday. The Strider versus the Medford. I'm very excited to see who wins because in all honesty right now, I have no idea. There's certain parts of each one of these knives I really, really like. That's coming at you guys Friday. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think about Medford. I look forward to reading those. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.